If you keep losing your motivation regardless of how successful you are, that's not a mindset problem. That is a nervous system regulation problem. My name is Elyssa Smith. I'm a trauma informed executive coach. And this is the first video in our series, Why Consistency Feels So Hard and How to Make It Sustainable. High achievers don't lack ambition. You know what I'm talking about, girl? Like, we are ambitious, we are visionaries, we are inspired, we have great ideas. And we know how to push through, right? You know how to push even when the going gets tough. And you know how to follow through. But maybe lately you are feeling some resistance to that. Maybe you are needing more effort than you did before to do the same things or to accomplish the same amount. It can feel like you're regressing, but I promise you are not backsliding. Your nervous system has changed, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what that means for you and how to get it recharged and boosted so that you can actually get to that next goal and that next level of success. So, one thing you have to understand is the reasons that motivation fails. So maybe you've been used to, like, okay, I have a goal, I have gumption, I have drive, I'm just going to be driven and get to that next goal. If you're the responsible daughter in your family growing up, you probably figured out ways to get those straight A's, the ways that you needed to accomplish, do great at the piano recital or win the volleyball tournament with your team or whatever it is. You just figured out the grind and you just did the grind. And that is great. And maybe you started your own business, or maybe you worked your way up the career ladder and you're at a place where you always wanted to be. But you've noticed that your motivation to get to the next place is kind of waning, or maybe your fulfillment has gone way down. But when the motivation starts to disappear, there's a specific reason for this in high achieving women. So usually the motivation that gets you to, let's say, your first six figures in your business or to that first big promotion in your job, that motivation is fueled, it's hustle. It's fueled by pressure, by urgency, by the drugstore in your mind, in your brain, of not just in your mind, it's actually real. There are chemicals in your brain, adrenaline, cortisol, that rush that you get when you're working toward a deadline, or that, that first big accomplishment you have and you're like, yes. And then the dopamine hits and you're like, okay, let's go. And then you immediately set the next goal and head to that next thing. And maybe you thrive on like a high pressure lifestyle. And that always used to be what worked for you. But now you're feeling like, oh my gosh, it takes so much effort just to do the same things I was doing before with ease. Like, I can't take on anything else. Or you find that you're really distractible, or you're in a place where you're resisting the next step, or you're procrastinating the next step. That early motivation is based on stress. It's stress-based energy. Hustle is stress-based energy. And so your nervous system learned this is how we have succeeded and survived. So that is the only way that we can go through the next steps. So your nervous system has learned, okay, this is how we succeed and have success. And that probably is what is going to be required for the next level. But your body responds to the past patterns and the cumulative amount of wear and tear that having that stress-based motivation has taken out on you. And it doesn't respond to like, oh, the future goals might just be their own isolated stress. It actually is looking at the compounded effect of being in survival mode for an extended period of time, which takes out your immune system when you're really stressed, because your body thinks you're in a fight flight situation where you need to run for your life or fight for your life. So it's like, oh, we don't need an immune system to be active right here. We don't need our higher level thinking, right? So that's why it's taking such a toll on you to do normal stuff, because your executive functions get suspended over time when you're in survival mode. So if you got to where you are now in survival mode for the most part, and if you're used to being at that hustle level, there's only a limited amount of that you have access to before it peters out. So when your body thinks having another goal means we have to do all this hustle that we've been doing all this time, how many decades have you been operating from a place of hustle and stress-based energy? So now your body's going like, well, our immune system's been down for the last decade. So, that's not a really good risk that we want to be taking. So it will resist the future goals based on the fact that it thinks that you have to continue to hustle at that level, which it knows at some point runs out. So when motivation becomes a threat then, and your body braces when you have a new goal, when you have that next level that you can get to, and without the pressure of the motivation, your body doesn't feel safe, but it also doesn't want you to have that pressure anymore, then that's what invites the distractibility, the resistance, the procrastination, the overthinking, that overthinking loop that takes over when you want to try something new or when you want to work smarter and not harder, the discomfort with sitting still, the discomfort with how much effort it takes to keep operating with that stress-based energy. Moving from pressure-based motivation to safety is the answer. So what does that look like? And how do we get through the uncomfortable bits of it? So this whole video series, what we're going to have 4 videos in this series, and what we're going to talk about is exactly how we move from that stress-based energy to the safety. But first, I want to give you a practice. What is one thing that you have been trying to force? I want you just to think of it right now. You can write it down if you want to. And when you think of that thing that you've been trying to force, maybe you're trying out, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to use, Facebook and Instagram ads for the first time, or TikTok ads. Maybe you are trying to do something new taking on a new responsibility in your job for your boss and trying to do a good job at that. What is something you've been trying to force yourself to do, but your body has been resisting? And then I want you to notice what shows up in your body when you think about that thing. So if you've been trying to force it, your body's probably trying to tell you somewhere in here. Maybe you feel like your throat is getting tight. Maybe you feel like your jaw is clenched, or your chest is tight or heavy. It feels like something's sitting on your chest. So look for what's showing up in your body, because your body is actually where all the answers to this are. Your body is going to tell you when it's feeling motivated by pressure, in which case it's going to burn out real fast and you're not going to be able to reach that consistency, or it's going to show you that it feels safe. And that is the center of your inspiration. That is the center of being able to actually get to that next level. So once you notice what shows up in your body with that idea of the thing you've been trying to force, I want you to ask yourself this question. If I didn't push, what feels like the most doable, manageable next step to get that thing done? Because chances are the reason you want to do that thing is a really good reason. Chances are you're a successful enough woman that you're like, yeah, this is probably the next step that I should take. I don't want to should on you, but this is probably the right next step for me. Let the step that you take be small, and let that be enough for right now. Practice feeling what that feels like in your body, letting the step be really small and manageable, and letting that be enough. Now, stress-based motivation isn't a flaw, but it's also not going to be the backbone of your success. It is not the thing that is going to get you to all of the success that you deserve and to the lifestyle that you really want. It is how you got here, but it is not how you're going to get there. So the next thing that we're going to be doing in the next week, in the video next week, is I'm going to break down for you what we call the stress drive loop. And that's the thing that keeps you busy and productive, so-called productive, but also really exhausted. It's the thing that drains you, and you might not even realize when it's at work on you. It's probably something that you don't even notice. So until then, if this resonated with you, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, share this video with another boss babe that you think would really benefit from it. And you can also download for women my free guide, 5 nervous system hacks you can do at your desk, which will help you begin to build nervous system safety that is the key to all the success that you deserve. Until next time, take such good care of yourself.